सक्सेसफुल भयो
दुईटा सिट खाली भए पनि दुईटा लाने एउटैमा अट्ने
So distribute your flyers that for on-site consumption.
We can give it to them, I guess. It's like people, yeah, we got
जीवन पाइहाल्यो
I've got that other flyer.
हिजो त एउटा हाल्ने त्यो भित्र जाने त्यो खान पाएन म त 45 जाने दबाउ त पक्कै तिरे जस्तो नै भयो थियो कि यसलाई तर छुट्टै रमाइलो भयो ग्रुपमा र त्यो के अब हामी सेपरेट इन्डिभिजुअली जानु मात्रै त्यो फरक त भनेर
खानासानाको टाइम थियो
तर होइन यतिकै जाँदाखेरि त $38 मात्रै हो नि त $45 को थियो नि त्यो पनि रहेछ जस्तो लाग्यो किनभने हामी
Well, one of the nice thing about our field stations, probably more so for NKU than for Thomas More, but theirs is still fairly close. They're relatively close to our campuses. So it's only about 15 minutes for us to get to our field station. And it probably takes them maybe half an hour to get to their field station from their campus, their main campus.
Okay.
So that makes life a lot easier. You know, a lot of field stations for universities might be hours away, and so that makes it a lot easier to teach classes where you need that field experience. They can make it down in time to do the work during class time and back again. By the way, I'm Dick Durchie. I'm the director of the field station for NKU, but we do have a second set of trails. This is all bottomland forest, so this is all wetland. We are in a floodway right off the Ohio River, so there are times when the water can flood all the way up and over that road that we just came down.
Okay.
So all this area to the left, this is all part of our wetlands. Fortunately for us, it's fenced. And so if we set up our studies here, we know that they're not going to be disturbed by people coming onto the property.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Now, if we were to drive straight ahead, we would run right into the Ohio River. So we'll see the river here in a second.
River. Wow.
Yeah. So what you see over there, that is Ohio, another state. Right on the border.
How frequently does the Ohio River flood your wetland area?
It depends. We had a fairly major flood, like January, February of 2018. But in which case the water came. We had to close the field station. The water came up close to the building. Otherwise, it might get up here. And then one year I came through, and this dumpster was floating in the water, right down here. So the water was right to the edge here. So that happens every several years. We have that.
Right?
Welcome to NKU's Research and Education Field Station. Nice table here. We've got the TV. People can hook up to that with their HDMI, and so it's a great way to work. We also have some research space. We've got tables here and in the back here. Dr. Boyce has got a spot here. I've got a room here where I do some stuff also. And then, like one of the things we do at our Nature Adventure Day, we have what's in your pond, right? And so a lot of times the kids, they have no idea. And we can have them try to look through the microscope. But a lot of times, they're like this, and they can't really see what's going on. So it's how to get that out so they see that. And so we have a video projector. And so Josh, who is the artist, by the way, the fantastic artist behind that.
Every year I remake it.
Yeah.
So whatever I find, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
we didn't find that one. So
Right.
we found a weird,
Oh yeah,
what
the
was
fish
that?
fly.
The fish fly.
Yeah, that was really
terrifying.
That was amazing.
But amazing. I'm like, I don't know what you are. But thank goodness for iNaturalist. I took a photo from the screen and it was like fish fly.
Did you post it for us?
I sure did. We had a new record. I was like, okay, excellent. But yeah, so like the kids really love this because we can put a whole bunch of things on there and it's floating around. They can see it. We like, and having them look at the microscopes is always super fun because they love looking through microscopes.
Oh yeah.
And I usually have algae when it's nicer outside. We have algae skin, see what those look like. They're always fascinated by that. I'm an expert in diatoms. That's the little tiny things. Just a little diatom drawing. But it's a really nice place. It works out really well.
Yeah.
And it's air conditioned in the summertime.
It is.
Which is nice.
And heated in the winter.
It's heated in the winter.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, what all are we looking at?
So we've got a little, this is a live dragonfly larva. Here we have a little chironomid. It's nice and pink. It has hemoglobin, just like we do. There's a little mosquito. Getting ready, I don't know what species that one is, but there's a bunch of mosquitoes out there that haven't hatched yet, but I feel like that's going to happen soon. The ones that dried out, there's water in them now.
Yep.
It's mosquitoes.
Oh really?
So
Okay.
there's a lot of food for things.
Yeah.
We also have a little water boatman that I caught out there that I don't want to
Oh.
grab because he'll like to bite me.
Yeah.
So we usually find a good amount of tadpoles.
Yeah, we're gonna go off this, so we may
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, you might see some things flying around. I
Yeah.
just scooped as fast as I could and
Right.
came back. And then we have a bunch of little water beetles. This is actually a little copepod swimming around. It's small, but so big we can actually see it.
Right.
Found a little Daphnia. All kinds
We
of
got,
stuff today.
we got that.
Yeah,
That's good.
Daphnia. I'm gonna put it on the microscope. If you feel like watching its little hearts beat, you can look at that. What else did we catch? I caught some diving
Oh
beetles.
right.
Some little riffle beetles.
cool.
Some,
Yeah, you have to come and take a look at the Daphne.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, we find sort of that's sort of like our general insects we find up on the board that I typically find each semester, each year. So it's pretty nice. And this Modic camera is great. You just turn it and focus it, so you can focus on many different objects we have in here. Yeah.
We have, like I said, we have undergrads involved with research, and so we all came from KAS and the posters, but we even have some of the things. So Rick's got a poster over here on some really cool things going on that he's doing, right? You want to tell him about that?
See which one it is.
This is the
something about decapitating something or other. What
Well,
was that?
decapitating sounds cooler than clipping. But, yeah. So I've been studying Amber honeysuckle for a while, which is, probably our worst invasive plant. And over the last decade or so, honeysuckle leaf blight, which is a native pathogen, has really emerged big time. And it's been around for a long time, but it was usually pretty, not very common. But now it's really, really common. It's showing up every year. And it kills the leaves that it attacks. So let's see, other poster I have back here showed that it is, shrubs produce long shoots and short shoots. Long shoots are to get into the light quickly. Short shoots is what they use for flowers and fruits. Long shoots are more susceptible to it because they're kind of maximized for growth, and so they're not as well defended against diseases. And so I thought, okay, one way to induce long shoots is to clip the plant. And all the resprouts are long shoots because they're going to grow as fast as they can. And so that's what I've been finding or been studying. In fact, I'm on sabbatical this semester, and I've got 2 seasons now of data to wrestle with, and I'm trying to make sense of all of it. But it does look like, yes, it's having an effect. In fact, I don't know if it says chance of survival for all sites. There's a diameter dependence here. So the really small guys actually die from that. And we used to think, clipping is useless because, it just encourages them. They just grow faster. But at least with blight around now, it seems like the small ones do have trouble surviving. And I did a lot of that work here, actually. In fact, right in the woods there, if we have time, we might wander over there and you can just see some of the samples that I worked on over the last 2 years.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, let's head downstairs and show you that real quickly, and then we'll get into the field. What do you got, Maggie?
So unfortunately, we have had invasives move back in. So this is multiflora rose. Multiflora means many flowered. So every fruit was a flower, and so that tells you this is the rose with all the flowers. It's from Japan. I like to retaliate with these non-natives by eating them. They're fuzzy on the inside, so you can only nibble the outside, but they taste a little bit appley. So if anybody wants to very gently sample.
We're gonna browse today
Yeah.
on the way
I'm
through.
all about foraging. So
However, we do have
You
a
guys wanna
native
try?
shrub rose here called swamp rose.
Yes.
so it's bigger hips.
Yeah, that's that.
So these are supposed to be,
See if I
so I
can
usually just
find
pick one
for you.
out and gently nibble a little of the fruit from the back. They
One thing
taste a little bit
the
appley.
multiflora rose also has is thorns that are recurved and about 5 inches long. And if you get close, they grab you and tear your flesh off, or so it seems.
And we have
As
plenty
they
of
do.
blackberry too, which is also
Oh, yeah.
very thorny.
It is. All right, let's keep
It's sweet inside.
There's another wetland over here to the left. To your right is a very shallow ephemeral pond, so it does not hold water for very long. In fact, it's too shallow, or the hydro period is so short that amphibians will not use it to breed in, because there's not enough of a time period for tadpoles to become frogs, right? So they just avoid that. But we'll see up here that there's one where they do use it.
It's coming in autumn olive. You can tell because it has a silvery underside on it. That's non-native. There's not too much honeysuckle yet, though it is starting to come in. And then we also have calorie pear. Yeah, there's a few shooting up over there.
It could have been
So,
here.
yeah. Oh, yes, and I also have to mention, this is kind of a semi-woody plant here. This is a Chinese lesbadisa. It's related to clover, and I mean, animals really like it. It's got all kinds of seeds to use here. Dick actually did a study to see, is this affecting amphibians? And I believe you found that it doesn't
does
seem
not,
to be.
Yeah, we found it does not
So,
affect the amphibians.
which is good because it's going to be almost impossible to get rid of.
Is this calorie?
Let's see. That's autumn olive as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. See? That's, I don't know. Good one. So this is one of our more permanent ponds that, since we built this, always had water in it until this summer.
Yeah.
It was so dry here this summer. This was baked and cracked on the bottom, so
Yeah.
anything that was in here was gone, right? But we still have animals that come up and use it. In fact, we have animals that come from the river all the way up here, because we came out, we had this beautiful tree, and then it was gone.
Yes.
And now we have evidence that the beaver
Yeah.
came in. And then Rick just pointed out that the deer are scraping off the bark, you
Yeah.
know, as they're rubbing the
Yeah, they
fur
rub
off
the
their
velvet
antlers.
off,
The
and they're
velvet off
also,
their antlers.
you know, building themselves up to compete with other males too.
Right. And
Yeah.
isn't this the one you said that now just has mosquitoes? Yeah. Yeah. And those, when the amphibians start to breed in here again in the spring, the mosquitoes will go away.
Yes.
The
Oh,
larvae
larvae
will
will
eat
eat
all
them.
of those.
Yeah.
One of the things we do when we assess the ponds, or I should say the wetlands, we have trap stations for amphibians. So on your right up here, you're going to see a black fence with some buckets, and that's where we have where we trap amphibians. We have tubes on the side of the trees to get the tree frogs, and wooden cover boards and metal cover boards to see what's under there. Right? So we'll trap and see what we get. Nope, nothing exciting. Anything in there? Nope. animals will walk along and then they'll fall in the bucket. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And they don't open. Okay, what you see there is what they do there. And only bumblebees are strong enough to pull the petals aside and then crawl in and get the nectar. They're also one of the last flowers to bloom here. There's a little bit of this fall aster, but pretty much those are the only two things that are in bloom right now. Everything else is, finished their flowering.
So
Staging areas.
kind of staging to go out in the field, right? So we have some live animals here from around here. Some of the salamanders and frogs, toads. We haven't seen toads before. We have toads from the area, right? So.
Do you try to keep them around year-round, or?
No, a lot of times we'll catch them in the spring or summer. We'll have them in here. We can have them in the terrarium, so people can see them if they don't see them out in the field. And then later in the fall, we'll release them so they can brumate over the winter. Right? So.
Yeah, he's trying to get very active, but he's only got the course of semester.
And then, so we have, so we'll have animals in here kind of during the summer. I've pulled some things. We've got some live things, but this is kind of like a staging area. Kind of wraps up what we do here.
And don't forget to push the refs.
Oh right, yeah, we do have refs apparel. If you like sweatshirts,
It's a low price.
or hats,
Yeah.
or even hoodies, right?
Yeah. T-shirts. And they are for sale right now.
Yes. Yeah. So if you've ever wanted to see like southern two-line salamanders, there's one here. We have the box turtle. Let's see in here. One of the things we occasionally get is like that. Everyone loves the snakes, right?
But yeah, I carry that at Peterson's because they kind of complement each other.
It's a great reptile museum, or a zoo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, near the bridges,
We actually were just there watching it.
oh yeah? Yeah, they specialize in a lot of, so he's right over there in case you didn't see him. There's a couple of them there. But yeah, newts, streamside, or Jefferson salamander there.
Yeah, I mean, plants of Kentucky.
Well, I think we're going to have
departments, administrative offices would rent it for a day to do retreat or overnight retreat. And then the last cohort is, or the last sort of stakeholder group is, we have a lot of outside groups that run it for private parties or whatever purpose they have. Like Shannon's Mother's Church group, we use it a lot for retreats, things like that. So it's a retreat center, small conference center is our lodge. What it does, it brings audiences who are non-scientific here, and then they get tours and learn a little bit about what we do. So that's a nice audience to bring. We do writers retreats in there, artist retreats, we have a yoga retreat in there. So a meeting center. And then we call the lower property the Riverside. So top side's mostly residential with some programming in the lodge. And then in the riverside, we have a boathouse in the foreground. And then our biggest building, the lab building, is where we do our mussel work and hellbender work and a little bit of algae work. And then we just built our newest building is a K-12 STEM Outreach Center to host grade school field trips. And then we also use that as a little conference center as well. So let's head on down. There's restrooms in the first building we're going to use. Just be careful crossing the road and tracks, and then I'd like to get to know all you guys, but let's get inside the building and do introductions. So here's our in the boat, one more inside the shed with the mooring. To the left there, in front of the shed is our electric fishing boat. So one of our main projects is fish surveys, which we've done continuously since '71. So we just did 53 years worth of data, which has been really great to show some nice plants in the river, particularly catastoma, the sucker family, and some Clarkins that made dramatic improvements. We see drops in things like bullhead catfishes and common carp. So some really good signs with the fish populations of the river. And then the other boats are for outreach and water quality studies, net checks, things like that. Like I said, this facility was a lock and dam facility. It was pre-adapted. It had a nice wall, which serves as a dock for us, a nice place to sample, the concrete pad, the core built to support the dam that went across the river here. And if you look on the Ohio side, straight perpendicular from the lab building, you'll see concrete blocks. That's where the dam is connected. And so the Corps built 51 dams originally to raise the level for navigation. And when the barges outgrew the locks, that's when they built the modern system. So now we have 20 bigger dams, and all the original dams have been taken out. Essentially, with a septic tank leading to that. And then we have an 8/10 of a mile trail along the floodplain. There's a nice flat area, accessible, there's just about anything over there. And it's an interpretive station named after our first director, Sister Mary Lawrence. And it just highlights the floodplain features next to it. And then, of course, we can get access to the river from the tree. So go It's a safe drinking water source, and thirdly, you can fish, boat, and swim on it. The fourth criterion is the challenging one, and that is, can you eat the stuff from there? And the answer is yes, but you're limited. So things like mercury, which we still emit from burning coal, and things like PCBs and dioxins, which were industrial pollutants used for decades, are still out there in the sediments and get into the fish. So the main limitation is, fish consumption advisories. The second issue is runoff. So we get combined sewer overflows into city urban areas during rain events.
Yeah, I hate that.
So our storm and sewer water combines together and overflows into the water. So for a 2 to 3 day period after heavy rains, we'll have spikes in E. coli, and that's not healthy. And then the other one is we get a lot of nutrients. So we're really rich in farm areas in the watershed, and that could trigger those harmful algal blooms. But generally speaking, like this summer, the river's been down. You can fish, boat, and swim safely. It's always a safe drinking water source, and it's really healthy community organisms. So yeah, this was the lock house where they operated the lock. We'll go and see pictures of that. Go straight ahead to the window. Yeah, just walk straight out to the window. Yeah, this was once the lockmaster's office where he could see and operate the dam. That's the crest of the river, 1937, above. Look up on that window in the corner.
Yeah.
Right up here. That's how high the river got.
Yeah.
That's our building. We're in this building right now. This is the building with the lock and the dam. So this was once here, and we had the greatest natural disaster in the U.S. up to that point. Was this Great Flood of 37. And dams were put on to alleviate low flow, so you can see the dam that
We're
was
getting
here.
close to 37 again.
97, it was waist deep downstairs. So, yeah, this was the office, another river mural. I'm standing on a bat house with a trap door. You can look at bats in here, which is neat. They can come and go from below. And then we're going to go back to the hallway and turn right and go into our And then the black tanks behind you is where we grew out the juveniles. And we produce these fish to have eggs on demand. Once you hatch those eggs, you can use them in a tox test. And then, like I said, in the SOC, the STEM Center, we had an opportunity to obtain some hellbenders, which is arguably one of the most charismatic species in Kentucky, at least as far as aquatic stuff. So we have four individuals, one here, two in the middle, one over by Lindsay, and we've had them for about 7 years, and they've grown a lot. They get up to 3 feet thick, North America's largest salamander. In the wild, they eat fish and crayfish, and here they like fish more. So part of Lindsay's job is to target feed them. We collect minnows, she puts them on a forceps and feeds the hellbenders every day, or another colleague of hers. And then we have fish in here for enrichment, so that the environment mimics the stream. They can see those minnows maybe coming down. And then occasionally we get with crayfish in here too. And ultimately when we get those eggs and larvae and grow them up and put them back into the stream. What we want to do. Or the helmet is off over there, can you see it? So go ahead and move the tires.
What's the temperature of the water?
The temperature of the water right now is 19 degrees Celsius. And that's fairly constant.
Oh.
This is the flow system, which is the highest water quality. Yeah, this is the flow through, the filter inside the opposite.
Hold on.
I don't know if you've heard the name Google.